All right, Cowboys fans, buckle up because we've got a ton to break down ahead of this matchup. Injuries have been a major storyline all week, and the team's health report is definitely something to monitor closely. In the safety room, Elijah Clark and Donovan Wilson have been getting limited work earlier in the week, which is encouraging, but it's still not a full-go scenario. Solomon Thomas sat out the first practice with a calf issue, and his status is a bit of a mystery as he works to recover from the hit he took against the Cardinals. Tyler Smith's injury has been managed carefully, and he should be fine, while Rebel Overshown is expected to make his debut for the Cowboys this season. On the Raiders' side, most of their injury situations look manageable. Lockett had some limited work early in the week, which isn't a huge concern, and Dylan Parham seems on track to play, which is a significant boost for a Raiders offensive line that has had its struggles. Now let's talk matchups, starting with the Cowboys' right tackle situation. There's a chance we see a rotation between Terrence Steele and Nathan Thomas, or at least a quick trigger on whoever starts for Dallas. They're going to face Max Crosby, who, despite some drop in pressure rate according to next-gen stats, is still a disruptive force. On PFF metrics, his performance looks a bit better, but a big factor is how much attention he draws. He's getting double or even triple-teamed on a career-high 32.3% of his pass rushes, which is massive for an edge rusher. Most of his snaps come from the left side, so whoever lines up on the right will have to be ready for a tough day. If the Cowboys are relying on tight end help or a running back chip to handle Crosby, that will be key because leaving him isolated is a recipe for a rough outing. Turning to the Raiders' offensive personnel, Brock Bowers is a focal point. They've leaned heavily on two tight end sets, which accounted for about 47% of their snaps last week in 12 personnel packages, excluding 13 personnel looks. The Cowboys' defensive approach will be fascinating. Do they bring in 5 defensive linemen? Do Quinnen, OSA, Kenny Clark, Ezra Ku, and Clowney all take the field together? Will they roll a linebacker down or adjust their nickel package? Safety health has been an ongoing concern, so deployment in the secondary will be crucial. Brock Bowers thrives in man coverage, getting targeted nearly 32% of the time against it, which is the second highest rate among tight ends this season. Every touchdown he has scored this year has come against man coverage, so the Cowboys' plan for him could define the defensive effort in this game. Coverage strategy continues to be a theme when we consider Don Bland against Geno Smith. In the 3 games leading up to the Cowboys' Week 10 bye, they ran man coverage about 40% of the time, the 6th highest rate in the league. In those games, opposing quarterbacks averaged just 4.2 yards per dropback in man coverage, including sacks and throwaways. Essentially, the Cowboys were a top 10 team in man coverage during that span. Smith has been slightly better in zone overall, but against man, he's produced more efficiently in key metrics like EPA per play. The deployment of the new front 7 pieces combined with the back-end adjustments will be critical to containing both Bowers and other Raiders' weapons. Shifting to vertical threats, Deontay Thornton is the main downfield target for Las Vegas. His role is simple: get downfield, stretch the defense, and exploit any deep coverage lapses. The Cowboys have struggled in this area, ranking near the bottom in deep passing defense across several metrics, including yards allowed per game and touchdown prevention. Geno Smith has been below average in almost every key passing metric, but the Raiders will still test the Cowboys' secondary downfield with vertical routes to Thornton and potentially some contributions from Trey Tucker. Preventing big plays here is crucial because the Cowboys cannot afford to get gashed in the deep passing game. Inside running lanes are another area of focus. Javonte Williams has been a standout when carrying between the tackles, ranking 5th in yards per carry and forcing the 3rd most missed tackles among backs with at least 50 inside attempts. He also ranks 3rd in touchdowns on these carries. The Raiders, by contrast, have allowed only 3.7 yards per carry on inside runs, which is one of the lowest marks in the league, though they've conceded the most touchdowns in that category. This contrast creates a compelling matchup between one of the league's most efficient inside runners and a defense that limits yardage but struggles to prevent scores. How the Cowboys choose to deploy their run schemes will be key to controlling the tempo and keeping the Raiders' offense off balance. Offensively, Dak Prescott must elevate his game. The last 2 weeks haven't been his best, and the Cowboys' margin for error is slim without him performing at a high level. The red zone efficiency and play calling must improve to give this team a legitimate chance to control the game. Dak has been among the most consistent quarterbacks in creating wins this season, and without him at his best, the other elements of the offense won't compensate sufficiently. Tight ends and wide receivers remain central to the Cowboys' offensive output. Jake Ferguson has been solid in PPR formats, but lacks explosive plays. He needs to produce more than just check-down receptions to impact the game meaningfully. CeeDee Lamb has had a quietly efficient season, and while he's on pace for another 1,000-yard campaign, he hasn't consistently broken away in big plays. Drops were an early season concern, but have improved. The Raiders' secondary, beyond Eric Stokes, has been inconsistent, and attacking these matchups could create opportunities for big gains. George Pickens has seen limited production against this defense, so keeping an eye on target distribution will be interesting as the game unfolds. Defensively, the new additions like Quinnen Williams and Marvin Nova show promise. Quinnen's deployment on the defensive line could pressure the Raiders' offensive line and ease the burden on fellow defenders. Marvin Nova's presence adds depth and rotational flexibility, which is especially valuable given the intensity of the upcoming matchup. It will be fascinating to see how the Cowboys rotate their linebackers and how close Marvin is to a full snap count, as that could significantly impact the defensive rhythm and effectiveness. Continuing on the offensive side, the wide receiver situation is pivotal for the Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb, while efficient, needs to create more explosive plays to keep defenses honest. Defenses have been able to predict some of his routes, especially against teams like the Raiders, who have a secondary that can hold up in coverage when the ball isn't spread effectively. George Pickens hasn't had the breakout moments many expected against this defense, which makes the way Prescott distributes the ball even more crucial. Dak has the talent and vision to read coverages and make adjustments at the line of scrimmage, and the receivers need to execute precise routes to maximize spacing. The interplay between tight ends, receivers, and backs will define the rhythm of the Cowboys' attack. Jake Ferguson must push past his role as a check-down option. He's shown flashes, but the defense can't treat him as a minor threat. He has to make defenders pay after the catch and contribute to vertical progression, opening lanes and clearing space for Lamb and other targets downfield. Turning back to the Raiders, their offense is multifaceted and requires the Cowboys to adjust dynamically. Brock Bowers remains the central figure, particularly in two tight end sets. His ability to exploit man coverage is a consistent threat, and the Cowboys' defensive adjustments will be tested throughout every snap. Will the linebackers step down? Will the defensive line shift its alignment? And how will the safeties rotate to cover potential seams? Every decision impacts whether the Cowboys can contain Bowers and disrupt the timing of Las Vegas' passing game. With the Raiders leaning heavily on multiple tight end formations, the defense must anticipate and adjust without leaving mismatches in coverage, particularly in the middle of the field where Bowers excels. Deontay Thornton adds another dimension to the Raiders' passing attack. His deep speed stretches the field, forcing safeties to respect the vertical threat and giving the quarterback time to survey the field. The Cowboys' struggles with deep passing defense make this matchup particularly dangerous. Thornton is not just a receiver. He is a space creator, and the defensive backfield must communicate perfectly to avoid blown coverages. Any lapse in technique or timing could lead to a big play, putting immense pressure on the Cowboys' secondary and potentially forcing the front seven to generate pressure to compensate. Running game execution remains critical. Javonte Williams' ability to run between the tackles, combined with the Cowboys' commitment to inside zone and counterplays, presents a high-stakes battle in the trenches. Williams has forced the third most missed tackles and ranks high in touchdowns from inside runs, which puts significant strain on the Raiders' interior defenders. Conversely, the Raiders have managed to limit average yards per carry on these attempts, meaning every run must be precise and offensive line execution must be near perfect. Controlling the clock with the run game can open up the passing game, and the Cowboys' ability to mix inside runs with outside stretches will dictate tempo and field position throughout the game. Pressure on Geno Smith is also a priority. While Smith has struggled in many passing metrics this season, the Cowboys can't underestimate his ability to make mid-range and deep throws if given time. Max Crosby is the primary pass rush threat, but with the defensive line rotation, including Quinnen and other front seven contributors, Dallas has an opportunity to disrupt the timing of the Raiders' offense. Getting consistent pressure without overcommitting or leaving gaps for the run is essential. The coordination between the defensive line, linebackers, and secondary will define whether the Cowboys can maintain leverage and force low-percentage throws. Special attention must also be paid to situational football. Red zone efficiency on both sides will likely determine the outcome more than any single explosive play. The Cowboys' red zone play calling needs to maximize personnel advantages and leverage matchups. Dak Prescott must read the coverage, trust his receivers, and make quick, accurate decisions, while the defense must limit high-value opportunities and force the Raiders to convert in tighter spaces. Each team's adaptability in short field situations will be critical to success. Looking at the Cowboys' personnel, new additions like Marvin Nova and Quinnen Williams bring energy and versatility. Nova's rotation in the linebacker core could provide crucial support against both the pass and run, while Quinnen's ability to create pressure on the line can force errors and hurried decisions. Their impact may not always appear on the stat sheet, but their presence changes the dynamics of each snap, creating lanes for teammates and pressuring key Raiders personnel. How the coaching staff manages snap counts, rotations, and alignment shifts will directly influence defensive success. Offensively, the Cowboys' coordination between Dak, the receivers, and the offensive line is central to their identity. Maintaining balance between inside runs, outside stretches, and vertical passing will test the Raiders' discipline. CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson need to exploit coverage mismatches, with Ferguson stepping up to force defenders to account for him beyond short yardage receptions. Tight end integration in passing schemes will also be vital, especially against multiple linebacker or nickel sets. Timing and spacing must be flawless to ensure the ball progresses downfield effectively. Ultimately, the game hinges on execution in multiple phases. Defensive adjustments, quarterback decision-making, receiver route precision, running game efficiency, and situational awareness in the red zone all interact to shape the flow of the contest. The Cowboys' new personnel, combined with veterans stepping up in key moments, have the potential to tilt the matchup in their favor, but consistency across snaps is non-negotiable. Every tackle, coverage rotation, and route alignment carries weight in this matchup, and the team that executes with discipline, communication, and awareness will likely control the tempo and scoreboard. The synergy between the offensive line, skill position players, and quarterback vision will be the hallmark of success for Dallas. Balancing aggressive play calling with measured risk management, particularly in crucial moments, will determine whether the Cowboys can capitalize on their strengths and limit exposure to the Raiders' vertical threats. Meanwhile, the defensive front must remain adaptable, responding to formation shifts, motion, and personnel variations to disrupt timing and force errors. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. The rumor mill is spinning at full speed in the NFL world, and one of the hottest whispers comes straight from Dallas. The Cowboys, always looking to make waves, could be plotting a blockbuster move that would shake up the league: the possible acquisition of defensive powerhouse Jeffrey Simmons from the Tennessee Titans. Sources close to team circles hint that talks have been quietly simmering, with Dallas prepared to offer a package so massive it could redefine the Titans' roster strategy. Simmons, known for his explosive interior pass rush and game-changing ability to disrupt offenses, would instantly elevate the Cowboys' defensive front. The idea of pairing him with the team's current stars is causing fans and analysts alike to imagine what could be one of the most dominant defensive units in recent memory. For a team constantly under pressure to balance star power with depth, landing Simmons could be the kind of move that signals serious Super Bowl intent. Whispers suggest that Dallas is considering a trade that could involve multiple draft picks and at least one high-profile player, though nothing has been confirmed. The Titans, meanwhile, are reportedly open to the idea but would want a return that matches Simmons' elite talent level, something that might make other teams' heads spin. Speculation has it that the Cowboys front office believes they can craft an offer that's irresistible, a true game-changer deal in every sense of the word. Analysts are already debating the implications. Would Simmons' arrival create a defensive juggernaut capable of dominating the NFC? Could Tennessee leverage this trade to accelerate a rebuild? And perhaps most intriguingly, what does this move say about the Cowboys' appetite for immediate contention? Fans are buzzing across social media, imagining the trenches being ruled by one of the league's fiercest interior linemen, while experts try to gauge whether Dallas is really willing to go all in for a shot at glory. As with any high-stakes rumor, caution is advised, but the excitement is undeniable. If this deal comes to fruition, it could reshape not just the Cowboys and Titans, but the entire landscape of the NFL. Until then, the league watches, whispers grow louder, and Cowboys fans can dream of a defensive revolution led by none other than Jeffrey Simmons. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.